Alright, so here's my final verdict on this Imogene thing. I think I finally understood why so many people give it reviews. And so here's what I'm gonna say. When I record my videos, it's done shotgun. It's based on my thoughts at the time. Okay. The typical content that I video doesn't make it into those little quick shotgun type videos. Okay, so you get to hear it exactly how and what I feel at that particular moment. Okay, so at the beginning of my trip, I have talked about there being two entrances to Imogene on the Euro side. Okay, so the first one, the official one, is the difficult one. Okay, the second one, the unofficial one, the alternative one, is basically cowbell. It is very easy. It's very doable. Well, now, when I say easy, you have to put that into context of Imogene. You can't just say, you're not gonna be driving that in a Toyota Corolla, if you know what I mean. So that portion is easy. Okay, now if you took Imogene from Uray to Telluride, okay, the only, at least in my opinion, the only remarkable component of entire Imogene trail that's worth looking at going in that direction is the last I don't know how many miles that is. Okay, it's after you cross the Imogene Pass, after you pass the remnants of the old town that's over there, and you essentially drive in the shelf road. Okay, that's like the only thing worth mention. That's just my personal perspective. However, even that is probably rated like a 5 to like 6 out of 10, if I had to guess. All right, now here's what gets interesting. If you take Imogene from Telluride towards Uray, okay, and by the way, majority of the videos out there that are posted are actually posted from Telluride to Uray. Even on like humongous YouTube channels that post that kind of stuff, they typically do like Ophir Pass, and then they cross over to Telluride, and then they go up the mountain and then down the mountain and end up in the Uray. So if you go from Telluride to Uray via Imogene, I would say that majority of the trail is probably rated like a good 7 out of 10. And only because when you're going up the mountain, you're always looking at the mountains. Whereas if you're going down the mountains, you're not really looking at anything at all. So the shelf road, you not only have the shelf road atmosphere, but you also have the backdrop of like the Black Bear Mountain or Black Bear Pass, bits and pieces around Telluride, waterfalls that you couldn't see because otherwise you would have had to like turn your neck 180 degrees. And then you come up to the town itself, okay, to the backdrop of all the mountains in the background, right? So you're going up the mountain and you continue seeing all those mountains, something you don't see on the way down. Then you cross over the actual Imogene Pass, which in my opinion is really nothing worth, but whatever. It's probably advisable to stop there and rest some because both yourself and equipment need rest. So going down the pass towards Uray, you're basically constantly looking at everything in the background. The mountains, the forests, the peaks, the waterfalls, if applicable, the Yankee Bay Boy Basin in the background, right? So you get to see all of that. Whereas if you're coming up the mountain, everything is behind you and you don't see anything at all. And then, of course, once you get off the trail, towards the end, um, coming down is basically, I'm not gonna say it's cowbell, okay? I'm not gonna say it's super duper easy, okay? But if I had to gauge how difficult it is to go up to Imogene from Ouray, that's even before the pass, obviously, versus going down is probably, and obviously you have to be careful, if anything, it's probably rated like 4.5 to 5 out of 10. You just have to pick your line and go. It's fairly easy. As a matter of fact, going down, it's much easier because you see the lines in a completely different way. If you're going up that same exact path from, Yankee Bay Basin towards the pass, it's substantially more difficult. And you're also picking lines that don't necessarily, unless of course you know that road like the back of your hand, to take, because like looking from down, looking up, you don't see certain lines until you're actually haven't passed and looking outside the window and be like, oh well, that was a much better line, right? So coming down was really easy by comparison. And then of course, at the fork, where the official entrance to Imogene versus the alternative entrance to Imogene, if you take the alternative, it basically shaves probably half an hour, if not more, of just staircase, going through water, going through running rivers, all sorts of off-camber stuff, right? So coming down, like going from Telluride to Ouray via Imogene, is substantially more beautiful than the other way around. You have to be very careful though. Okay, a lot of people, and it actually happened multiple times, when they come back from the trails, they haul taters on that road all the way to Ouray. And what tends to happen is they cook their brakes. I have seen multiple vehicles along the way that have passed me, right, only to find them on the side of the road with their brakes basically borderline on fire and all sorts of horrible smell coming out, and they're stranded waiting for the brakes to cool. So when you're off the trail, whether it's Yankee Boy Basin or Imogene, don't, not even for 1 minute, let your guard down until you hit asphalt again. Because it's so easy to get it wrong when it's the easiest portion of the trail, if you know what I'm saying. Now, do I want to do it again? The answer is absolutely not. What prompted me to actually, which is kind of funny, because in earlier videos I talked about how I was going to basically go to Telluride and then do the off-air and back home, right? I had a snack while there. I bought the gyro on the main stretch, and that kind of made me reevaluate what it is that I wanted to do. And at that particular moment, out of all times to crank up the I basically made like a split-second decision to basically, because this was going to be my one and only time ever coming to Imogene, I would probably not forgive myself if I wouldn't have gone back and at least captured the 1/3 of the trail, on the Shelf Road, And then once I got on the trail, all those caravans of jeeps just started going down the mountain. Oh my god! On the Shelf Road, that's just, and you know, I decided for myself at that point. I said, it's just not worth turning around to go to Telluride. Just keep going, keep going. And surprise, surprise, actually going back up the peak was very easy until we got to I'm not sure how to describe it. On the very top of Imogene Pass, okay, there's this 45-degree, maybe 30-degree incline that you have to climb to get to the pass. There was a horrible traffic jam. They were trying to basically squeeze like 16 cars and side-by-sides through that turn. At the bottom of that climb or descent, depending which way you go, there's the like parking area. Okay, so basically what they were doing is they were playing a game of Tetris with the vehicles, the ones that were coming down the mountain and the ones that were coming up the mountain. They were spotting them to basically park as close as they could to each other to undo the gridlock, which probably took like 20 minutes to 30 minutes or so. I was lucky enough to have, again, this is maybe a twist of fate, you know, I let people pass. Like, honestly, if you're in that much of a rush, just pass, right? So I just constantly let people pass. So the people that passed me didn't have GPS, so they got lost around the city area, like the former mining city. Then they caught up with me and passed me again. Then they took a wrong turn. Then they passed me again, right? So that's like 3 times. And so because they were ahead of me, they got into that gridlock. And I, you know, slow and steady wins the race. I was way behind everybody. So when they basically stacked them together, I just had a clear path. You know, I just kind of sat there, waited for them to do what they needed to do, and went up the mountain. Of course, once on top of the mountain, coming down was actually easier by a mile, if I had to guess. Despite the fact that the rock is loose, you just see more of the terrain. There were a couple of places where I banged my skid plate, but whatever, you know, is what it is. But to me, when like looking at all of that in that light, it was far easier coming down than going up. And then of course I got to the difficult part. That was the rock crawling portion. And again, I got incredibly lucky because I allowed a whole bunch of people to pass me. And those people, you know, they have all sorts of stickers from Colorado and all the passes. I mean, clearly they've been here a bazillion times. But what would happen is they would slow down, you know, obviously for the obstacles, but also to let all the upcoming traffic up the mountain. So I was constantly catching up to them, and they were basically without a particular, well, I wasn't a part of their clique, but because I was right behind them, I got to see all the lines that they knew that you had to take. And so right in front of me, there was a Jeep Gladiator, which is a little bit less of a length than I am by, I think, a foot or so. I don't know about the actual wheelbase, but lengthwise, I'm actually longer because I have a long bed Tacoma. So I was basically doing everything that he was doing, and it was so easy coming down, not even funny. Like all of the things that were sketchy as hell coming up, they were basically cowbell coming down. And then, of course, once I got down the trail, all the jeepers started passing me, going crazy, 50 miles an hour down that road that goes all the way to Ouray. And then I saw a whole bunch of them on the side of the road with brakes haven't failed. So, slow and steady. Now, am I going back to Imogene ever? More than likely not. I honestly, for the amount of effort that it is, I don't think it's actually worth it. I just don't. It's 11 miles plus change each way. And yeah, it's just nah. Now I should mention, while in Moab, I was doing crazy long trails. Like one of the longer ones were Chicken Corners, which is 26 miles each way. So I'm not frightened by the distance. I just want to see the reward, because like if I take, just for sake of argument, from where I am, okay, go through Silverton, take Animas Forks, and hit up a whole bunch of things, right? It's just spectacular beauty along the way, all the way through, right, from beginning to the end. Doesn't matter which way you're looking, it's always beautiful, right? Versus that. Imogene is actually very technical. That's probably the reason why so many Jeepers go there, to test their rigs and basically test their skills. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, in my opinion, I'm not here for that. Okay, I'm honestly, I'm not here for that. My little Toyota Tacoma, bless its heart, it's doing everything that I'm asking of it and more. But, my limit is I'm here to basically admire the beauty. I'm not here for technical aspects. Now if this was like my 16th visit to this area, then it would be a completely different story. So there's just trails out here that are, in my opinion, especially having done them, they're just not worth it. Mineral Creek is one of them. Imogene is another one. I'm sitting on needles. There's a possibility that tomorrow I might be doing the Black Bear Pass. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. As of this morning, they haven't opened it. And then coming from Uri over here, that sign that lights up still says that it's closed. But yet the website says that it's going to be open by the 4th. So that's kind of it. All the updates so far. Yeah. So today I basically lost another 2 cameras. One barely works. The other one almost barely works. I'm blessed that my target was to basically starting tomorrow, well, the day after tomorrow really, to discontinue using them and switch to other cameras. But so I'm down 2 GoPros basically. I'm down 2 360-degree cameras. I'm down 1 drone. This trip hasn't been kind to me in that respect. But that's kind of the reason why I always have redundancy. I'm sure all the vibrations and all the banning and off-roading, takes its toll, as hefty as cameras are. But I do have 2 spare 360-degree cameras, so that's good. I don't have spare GoPros. I'm contemplating what to do. The problem is, if Silverton had like a FedEx office or a UPS office, I'd be able to just ship it to GoPro and have them basically give me some credit or something like that. But the only establishment that has it doesn't print labels, doesn't box things up. So maybe I'll do that once I get back home. But yes, that's just how it is, and I'll catch you guys later.